Okay, so in this video, we're going to be working out discussion 13, problem 9 in the textbook. This is the problem that we're given. So I'll go ahead and write down some of the givens. We're given a molar value of 10%. I'm gonna go ahead and transfer this table over. It's not what I was for. So I've already actually made this table. So here's ours. I'm just gonna copy this. Just to make it easier for me. Okay. So here is our table. Here's this. I added the year 0 values, which are given in this problem. So the pump can be kept in service for 4 years, or it can be sold for 35, which would be the market value of the Defender. The other option is to purchase a new replacement pump for $50,000, which is the market value of the Challenger. So with these, our next step, well, we have to find the equivalent annual cost for the EUAC of the Challenger and the Defender. So with what we're given right now, we can't do that. We need to find the capital recovery as well as the present worth before we can find the EUAC. And this goes for both the Defender and the Challenger. Credit recovery or capital recovery, we're going to use the PMT function. And yeah, okay. Let me go back to this. Like I said, use the PMT function. Financial. Your rate is going to be the MAR that you're given. The year. Since it's year 1, PV is going to be negative. The present value is the market value that you got it for, and then the future value is what the market value at the end of year 1 is going to be. So it's going to give us 13,500. We go in here and set the variables that need. So the MAR needs to be the same, and the market value needs to stay the same as well. The original present value. that's going to be our capital recoveries. Like I said, we're going to do the same thing down here. Here's the present value. It's negative 50,000. Minus the 40,000. So there we go for that. Now for the present worth. So here you can see present worth is just the present value function. You take the rate and year and the cost, and then it's going to be for each year. So really, the present worth we're finding is for the costs. Rate year one. You don't need a PMT, you don't have a payment, you just have the future value, which is negative the costs. Right? Yep. So I'm just gonna go ahead and switch over to this one. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the rate, the year, that's the cost. As we go down, same thing, just for each year, we're finding the present worth of the expenses for each year. Okay, so we have to do that same thing down here. So the capital recovery doesn't come into play yet, but when we're trying to find, once we're given all of these, and we're trying to find the EUAC, what we're going to use is the payment function of the present worth and its costs. So we'll go through it. We use the rate, the year, and then the negative sum, because it's got to use continuous of the present worth for each year. So for the first year, it's just going to be the F5. But as you go into the next year, it's going to be the F5 and F6. Jeez. And then the same thing. Keep going down. F5, F6, and F7. So these are the values you get for each year. But that's just of the expenses. So to find the actual EUAC, you have to take the EUAC of the expenses found based on the present worth of the expenses and add that to the capital recovery. So this is going to be plus D5 I'm sorry, not D5, E5. And that'll give give us these values. So those are the EUACs of the defender. Same thing for the challenger. We find this value. This is what it's equal to based on this, of the expenses. And then gotta add it to this value. So these are these values. To find the actual EUAC, which is the minimum, you're gonna look at all these and find the smallest value. So that's the min for the defender. That's the minimum for the challenger. So going back to these questions, we found all of these for the defender and challenger, determine the economic life of the challenger. So that's just when it's no longer, when it passes its minimum, and when it's not efficient anymore. So that'd be after the 2 years for the challenger. Determine when the defender should be replaced. Well, if you're just looking at this, you'll see the defender needs to be replaced after the 3rd year. But that's not really true, because the minimum value of the defender is still greater than the initial 1st year value of the challenger. So it just makes sense for the defender to be replaced immediately, considering it's going to be cheaper right off the bat for the challenger, and then you're going to be saving money.